Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over 5 reasons why your Fortnite aim is bad for controller players. I think most people would agree that aim is without a doubt the hardest mechanical skill to improve, and also the skill that players struggle with the most. And even though aim isn't the only important mechanic like it is in some games due to building and editing, many people believe that it's still the most important mechanic in the entire game. Now, as I say from time to time, it's impossible to teach someone how to have good aim in a single YouTube video because a lot of it just comes down to practice, but this video should be able to point out some of the mistakes you're making while aiming that are probably holding you back. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first reason why your aim may be bad in Fortnite is because you're focusing on the wrong thing while shooting. So the reason why I'm putting this one first is because for me personally, this is a tip that I feel has really held my aim ever since I first heard it a few months ago. I was reading part of an aim training guide by Aimer7, who's considered one of the best video game and Fortnite aim training coaches in the world, and even though the guide was mostly focused on the best practice routines for aiming, there was an excerpt in it that gave a really interesting aiming tip. It goes, aiming by focusing directly at the target increases your reading skills and therefore improves your reactivity. Aiming by focusing at the crosshair makes you smoother, more precise, and more aware of your crosshair position with respect to the target. If we believe this theory, then focusing at the enemy model is better for close range situations, specifically against good dodgers, and focusing on the crosshair is better at long range situations, especially against bad dodgers, and will increase your shot timing accuracy because you're more aware of the exact crosshair position. I believe I may have briefly mentioned that in a video like 5-6 months ago, but that was before I really utilized it in-game, so even though it sounded good at the time, I couldn't really personally vouch for it. But now I can say that I totally vouch for that logic while aiming, since players in close range fights are going to be moving so erratically, doing things like jumping, strafing, and crouching, you really want to be keeping your eyes on them the entire time, and just naturally using muscle memory to move your crosshair into the right spots while following them. On the flip side, when you're in a long-range fight, not only is it less likely that enemies are going to be moving around like crazy, but that movement is going to require less crosshair movement from you because the enemy is so much smaller on your screen. Just think about it like this, if an enemy at point-blank range jumps, you need to flick your thumbstick super hard to follow them with your crosshair. But if an enemy 40 meters away jumps, you barely need to move your crosshair at all. So at long range, you want to be focused more on the crosshair because you're only going to need to ever so slightly guide it in a certain direction to stay attached to the enemy. The next reason why your controller aim may be bad on Fortnite is because you aren't using certain weapons correctly. A perfect example of this would be the current heavy AR in Fortnite. This is a weapon that has a ton of bloom and therefore really isn't reliable at all past close/medium range if you full spray it. However, on a few different occasions, I've seen even pretty solid players try to do exactly that. Basically just hold down RT/R2 for 15 shots straight at an enemy 40 meters away, and then when all their shots miss, they go, oh, my aim is so bad, or oh, I'm missing all these shots because aim in Fortnite is so RNG. Sure, I guess complaining about bloom and RNG while aiming is somewhat fair, but you wouldn't need to rely on it as much if you knew how to use the weapon correctly and only shot it in bursts of 2 to 3 shots at a time at enemies far away. Same deal with like the suppressed SMG. I'll see people try to barrel stuff with it and get destroyed by a shotgun, then complain about how unlucky they are, but that isn't how you're really supposed to use that weapon. It's much better when ADS'd at around the 7 to 10 meter mark, and the regular SMG is the one that you want to barrel stuff with. So I know that isn't technically a mechanical tip, but really knowing how to use the weapons in the game will go a long way in helping you aim better. Another big aspect of aiming that holds a lot of people back is that they're lazy with or even just totally ignore crosshair placement. This is a mistake that mainly applies to close range aim, specifically with shotguns, and I think that makes it extra important because shotgun aim is easily the most important type of aim in the entire game. When you're chasing after an enemy or just know that you're about to be in a fight, you always want to make sure that your crosshair is in a position where if the enemy randomly popped up on your screen, you'd be able to almost instantly fire and hit them. A lot of people have a bad habit of dipping their crosshair low when moving, so when they round the corner and an enemy's waiting for them, their crosshair is in a terrible position, the enemy's pretty much guaranteed to get off the first shot, and now you need to try some super crazy quick adjustment shot. But this problem isn't just confined to when you're running around in the open, it can also happen all the time when you're in a build fight, box fight, or really any other type of active engagement. Always pay attention to your crosshair even when you don't think that you're about to fire, and try to keep it centered or towards the head of where an enemy would be as much as possible. Reason number 4 why your aim may not be as good as you would want is because you try to overpredict enemy movement while shooting. In Fortnite, basically the only weapon that requires you to predict enemy movement to hit shots is the sniper rifles, and that's because obviously they aren't hit scan and there's some bullet travel time. But for some players, especially with shotguns and ARs, it's almost like they don't realize that. If an enemy's sprinting to the right and you think they're going to continue doing so, you actually don't want to put your crosshair ahead of them at all and then wait for them to kind of run into the bullets. It's so much easier with pretty much any weapon in the game to just put your crosshair on any part of the enemy and then just follow your movement. Now ideally, if the enemy is running to the right and you're using an AR for example, it would be kinda smart to position your crosshair on the right side of their body the entire time while shooting, but that's definitely more of an advanced tip and it's also a lot easier said than done. The main point here is that just because certain pros hit these crazy pre-fire prediction shots, that doesn't mean that's a viable method of aiming for most players. It's incredibly advanced and also incredibly situational. Please just stick to firing and following with your crosshair. And the final reason why your aim may be off is by far the most simple one, because you're using a sensitivity that doesn't fit you. I won't go too in depth with this because, like I said, it's incredibly simple. A bad sensitivity really can have obvious negative effects on your aim as a whole. I guess it technically is possible to get used to any sensitivity over time, but if you're using sensitivity values that don't fit your playstyle or are simply too fast or too slow for you, it's going to make it a very uphill battle to improve your aim. Unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly what sensitivity values are going to work best for you. It simply is going to come down to a bit of trial and error until you feel super comfortable with whatever you're using. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Simple yes or no question here. Do you believe that your Fortnite aim is bad? Try to be honest with me. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.